Hey everybody. Sorry for the delay. I didn't see that it had started. Today I have a different camera, so it's still a built-in camera, but it's on my secondary monitor, so the angle's a little bit different. So I'm gonna have to get used to looking over here, but it'll probably work out because this is the monitor that I have the code on, so I'm normally looking over here anyway. So we'll give it a shot and see if this one works better. So now you get to see the other side of my office. So you see there's my whiteboard that I never use, and there's my door. You'll probably see people walking by. And today we're going to work on the footer, which is, I think I said that yesterday, so not too much of a surprise, but I want to work on the footer because that's the next part in the structure. So yesterday we had said we're using Materialized framework, and that framework you have within your body, you have a header, and then as a sibling component or sibling element you have main, and then as the final sibling you have footer. So we've already done the header. We have main there, but there's nothing really in it yet, at least nothing visible. There's some structure, so just some elements, and there's some divs and things. And then we have a footer already, but it's not implemented the way we want it. So I want to get that finished so the footer looks like it's going to look, and then we can start like piece by piece adding things in to main. Alright, let me check the live chat just to say hi before we start. Okay, we did have a question about what is P3D6, and Umberto answered that, but I want to say that just in case there's anybody else wondering about it that can't see the live chat. At the end of the titles of the videos, I've been putting, like, for instance, today, P3D6. That just means Project 3 Day 6. Just wanted to make it a little bit shorter so that the title of the video wasn't really long. In the description, I actually write out the whole thing, Project 3 Day 6. So if you see that, that's what it means. It's just kind of a way to keep things organized for everyone. Let me get this off of the screen. This was still for the other project. So for project 2, yesterday I added in analytics with React GA, and then today I added in some event tracking to track all of our downloads, all the logo downloads and the letterhead downloads, so that'll show up as events in Google Analytics. Occasionally I need to report the stats on how many people are actually downloading things from that resource center, so that the head of my department can go and to people higher up and justify the time spent on the resource center. Alright, let's see. So let's move. I'll make sure I got my windows. I think my windows are still the same as they were. So yeah, so we'll be working in here. And here's our dev tools for that. And then here's our code. Alright, great. So let me see. I said I was going to check the live chat and I didn't get very far. Hey everyone. See a lot of people saying hi. Oh, okay, so we have a question. I'll take this question first, and then we'll get started on the code. Chandra says, "Hi Jesse, I'm unable to create a footer which will be always placed on the bottom of the page. Why is it happening?" So you could, let me see. There are already some responses, so let me see what. Let's see what error response getting resized. Okay, it looks like I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's Okoli Let me know if that's the wrong pronunciation. But Okoli's going to send a code snippet. So Chandra, let me know if that code snippet doesn't work, and maybe I can help, or maybe at the end during the question and answer I could try to help a little bit. Or if you need more help, maybe message me on Twitter. We're going to see with the footer today, it is always going to stay on the bottom, but I'm going to use Materialize framework, and it's going to do that automatically. We could take a look though at the CSS when we do it, and then maybe you'll get an idea about how they do it in that framework, and maybe you can apply that. So let me know. Is the video synced up to my face? There's like a slight delay, and it's weird, and I wonder. That is really weird to see that. I'm gonna try my best not to look at myself. So I'm gonna move this over to the other screen that I don't normally look at, because it's freaking me out. I'm talking, and then afterwards I see my mouth move. Daryl asks if I'm using C#. Yeah, we are using some C#. So we'll see. We don't. Basically, we're editing these templates, so we're not really getting in a lot directly into the C# stuff, but occasionally we are going to edit some of the C# things. So you can see, like, we have some stuff here that we will be working with. But for right now, we're going to go to, we're here at the bottom of this main test.master. Let me add that in. Okay. So, for some reason, Google thought that I was talking to it on my phone. I just looked over, and I've been having a conversation with the Google Assistant inadvertently. Okay, so here's our footer section. So it's not bad. We already have it, as a footer element, which is good. That's what we want for Materialize. So it's likely that we do have some. Let's see, where did our main go? Okay, so right now the footer is inside of main. So it may be that some of the styles for Materialize are getting applied because we have this footer element, but since it's within main, I doubt it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to take this out as well, this comment, and then let's put in our footer here. And I'm going to just save that and quickly check before we get started. I want to see if that did anything. It shouldn't. I don't expect it to have any big impact. Okay, great. I do want to check to see if any of the materialized styles are already being applied, and if anything's getting overridden. Let's see. So we do have materialized. Basically, the only thing that's applied now is display block. Footer. And then these are some of the custom styles that's making that border. Okay, so far it doesn't look like we have anything. Anything that is being overridden. Okay, materialize. The font size. The font size may be different. I'm trying to find where the original is. It's probably up somewhere and I just missed it. But it looks pretty good. So far so good. Hopefully we don't have a lot of conflicts between the styles, but not bad. We do have some weird stuff going on down here, and hopefully this will work itself out as we take out this content, or at least reformat this content with our column classes that we're going to use in Materialize. So I'm not going to worry about this yet. If we reformat everything and we're still having this problem, then we'll dig a little bit deeper and try to figure it out. Okay, so right now we have, which is actually, it's nice that it's commented like this, our left column, middle column, right column. But what we need to do is we need to keep these, because the content's being brought in here, but we need to remove this article. And I'm actually not sure why they chose to use article for that. I mean, can you all think of any reason why article would be the proper element for these sections in the footer? I don't know. That seems it seems a little odd. I just looked at the live chat and John B says, "Without my glasses, I don't see sharp." So like, get it? It's because we're doing C#, the code. I thought it was funny. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get rid of these articles, or at least change them. Oh, wow, I'm yawning already. Sorry about that. Okay. So I like, this is in the section. I might actually get rid of the section. I don't think we really need a section inside. I know that they're doing it. They're splitting out that bottom part of the footer, but that's not really how I do the footers with Materialize. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at how we're doing the footer here, and we can just copy it and bring it over. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it. Whoa. Okay. Alright, I actually don't want the social media icons in the footer because we have them in the header, and that's sticky. So the user will always have it there. We don't need them down there. So I'm going to take that out, and that's going to make things a lot easier. Well, we'll copy it all first, and then we'll take it out. There we go. Alright, so let's copy that, and let's put it below for now. And we'll take out, we don't need, we have the copyright for the icons in the top nav already, so we don't need that. Where's our social? Okay, so everything here in our social div we'll get rid of. Okay, and I was using inline SVGs for that. See, that's why there's all these numbers. If you haven't used those before, I really like them for things like social media icons, because you could see the path for the SVG is not really that long. I mean, there are some SVGs that are like pages long, but in this case, it's not really a big deal to just pop that in there. You don't have to load something else into the page, so I like to use them whenever I can. Alright, so you can see now, instead of having a section, I just have this class footer copyright container. So what we're going to do for the copyright date, I am going to change it to 2017, but if you remember in our JavaScript file, our custom JavaScript file that we brought over from our demo site, it had a little function in there that kept this up to date, so we don't have to worry about bringing that in. So I'm going to leave that there. I like this, so I'm not going to worry, if we look here, about this part. I don't think I'm going to worry about that. We might try to bring some of that in, but the things that are going to go down there are not likely to change. You know, this is probably never going to change. So we do need to worry about, you know, some of these links, but I'm not exactly sure where I want them, because these are a lot of links. We'll see. I haven't decided yet exactly what I want to do with that. So for now, I'm going to leave it out. Just going to leave that just as is. The university's address and phone number and email is not likely to change. So I'm going to keep it how I have it, because I'm using, you know, this schema. So I doubt that that's in use right now. We can double check it. No, these are just p tags. So I mean, they do have it in address, so it's not too bad. But we could, I guess we could add the slogan if we really want to. So for now, we're not going to bring in this, what is it, the left? We're not going to bring that in either, but we are going to bring in these two. It's possible that the wording and the links in here would change. We are working on a new application, so I'm doing the front end for that in terms of basically just making it look nicer. So when that launches, we will need to change this link. So I'd like this to be changeable from the CMS. Okay. All right, so let's pull that in. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. All right, I forgot to start my timer again. It's 2 days in a row. All right, I'm just gonna keep a look. Let's see what time it is on the clock. All right, I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer then, and I have this. Let's throw this in here so we can see it when we go to check that. Okay. After the 10 minutes is up, then I'll take a 5-minute break and I'll answer some questions. Let's see. Let's grab this. And I'd like to see the structure. So this is what comes out. So we have an H2, a P tag, and then a class that's about buttons. I don't like that. I would really love to find the template for the buttons so that we could just automatically have the materialized style buttons apply. We could put in the right classes. For now, I'm not going to worry about it, but I think that would be nice. We could always add some classes to our CSS and just use whatever they have here in terms of classes. But I think it would be nicer if we could just find this template and then have it apply, throughout, and not have to, mess with modifying the classes in Materialize. Okay. Not really sure I would go with H2s here, but we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so we're keeping that address. Actually, why am I? Oh, I guess I only had. Alright, I see. I had the logo a large size and then the address here. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. Alright, so let's keep. Maybe we can change this structure a bit. I guess we'll keep this structure for now. In terms of just 3 columns, logo, and address over here. Okay. So we're going to change this to an M. Now this logo is not going to show up immediately. I didn't bring this over yet. So we're definitely going to get an error on this at first. CM6, M4. So changes to an M4. The column classes in Materialize are based on 12. So you can see on small screens, so S12, this means it'll be full width on 12, or on small screens. On medium screens and up, it will take up 4 of the 12 columns, which means they'll end up being 3 columns, right? So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that's how we handle all our columns. Let's grab this and let's try to put this on top of here and just see how large that becomes. And I may have to change this to match the H2s that are going to come in. I may be able, I'm not sure how those H2s are getting in there, if there's like a WYSIWYG editor and there's manually been H2s put in there, or if it's a template that pulls the title and of that piece of content and puts it in H2. So we may be able to change that and just make them all H5s. We'll see. Alright, so now that that's out, I'm going to take this and all within the same row. This is not giving me the corresponding div. I don't like that. Alright. Okay, so let's put 2 more columns there. And now we can take our content. So here's this content, and put this in here, and we'll take our right column content and put it here in our last column. Now I want to completely get rid of everything in this footer. Actually, I want to see, I kind of want to see what's in there right now. So let's put this in here. It's gonna look really weird at first, but I just want to see how it comes out. Let's see what we can do with it. Okay, I'm gonna save that. And then let's check it out. What happened? There we go. I'm gonna keep an eye on that timer. Whoa. Okay. So it's looking for this content block, this footer left content block that we got rid of. So let's go into that C# file and see if it's in there. Yeah, footer left. Okay. Let's get rid of that. So we'll just comment it out for now and see if that fixes it. Oops. Okay, not yet. For left. There we go. That should be it. I don't think it's referenced anywhere else. All right. Loading. Whoa. Very different. Okay, so this is the default color. I wonder what size image I'm loading in there. That keeps taking quite a while. I'll have to double check on that. Okay. So definitely needs some work, right? We don't want the shadows here, or this font. So definitely don't want this color. These buttons aren't how we want them. Let's check out. Down here we didn't have any of these other links that I thought we would get. So you can see here we're getting all of this, but that did not show up. So let's see. The copyright. Interesting. Okay, well that explains why it was getting styled differently before, is that it's inside of a nav. Okay. Still not sure why it's not. Let's see. Okay, so the timer's probably almost up. You can see things are looking a little bit weird right now. We'll just have to fix up the styles a bit and figure out where those links were coming in at, the ones way at the bottom of the footer, and see if we can get them back, preferably in a format that's not in a nav. I'm going to take a 5-minute break to answer questions, check out the live chat, and then we'll do another Pomodoro session. We'll do at least one more session, and then we'll see what time it is. If yeah, we'll do one more session for sure, and we'll just see how it's going. I kind of think we can get this to the point where it looks pretty good with one more. Let's see. Okay, Sparwill says, so that's a copy and paste SVG? Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you just copy the SVGs, put them right in there. In that case, for those social media icons, I got them from someone's CodePen, which I did attribute where I got them at. It's not in this file, it's in the other file. So I have they had a big thing in their CodePen saying if you use these icons, make sure you include this, in your code. So I did. Andreas Larson, I think that's who did it. So anyway, they're really nice, very small SVGs. For other icons, for my material icons, I just go to the material icon website, look up the one I want, and then you can get them either as a ping or an SVG or a font icon. I just grabbed the SVG. It's a similar thing, really small SVG snippet. You just put them right in the project. All right, Blake Thomas says, does anybody here know PHP? I know a little bit of PHP, so I'm not really sure. If you have a question about it, about something specific in PHP, you could let me know. I'll do my best, but I'm not really confident that I could give you a great answer because I don't use PHP frequently. Rohan says, was busy last week. Looks like things have changed. Says, whoa, VS Code, live cam view. ASP.NET, yeah, it's very if you've been gone for 2 weeks, things have changed. So two weeks ago we were using Atom and React, and we had no live video. Sorry, another yawn. So we had no live video of my face. Definitely a little bit different now. Hopefully the next project is back to React. I'd like to get back to React. This is cool. It's kind of fun to do something different, but I don't know that this is really expanding my my skills in a way that is the most efficient way to get better. You know, trying to learn some legacy stuff that, I don't know. The odds of me having to use this, even at this job in the future, are really small, let alone at another job. But a lot of the basic stuff, like the HTML, CSS, that's the same everywhere. So it's not like I'm not, you know, practicing my skills at all. Okay. Oh, cool. John Hansen says SVG SVGO on GitHub is a great node tool that will make an SVG file small enough to paste inline. Awesome. Okay, I'm just looking for questions here. Oh, okay, so Blake, who asked about PHP earlier, says, I'm trying to set up a WordPress website for a nonprofit, but the WP style guide / template they have has an error. I can't figure it out. Okay. Alright. Okay, so it looks like John B is going to work on that error. Let us know. Okay, it looks like Blake just pulled up the website and now it works. So it didn't work this morning and now it works. So that's cool when that happens. I mean, you always wish you knew what the problem was, but if it works and it keeps working, then that's awesome. Okay, so I got to the bottom of the live chat and the timer just went off. So let's start this up again. Let's see if we can get this footer finished in one more Pomodoro session. Alright, first things first, I want to find out where these links are. The styling stuff is going to be no problem. The links, I'm not really sure what's going on with that, so let's tackle that one first. So I think I'll bring up, so this is our main test master. I'm going to bring up the normal main.master and go down to the footer. Since we took out a lot of stuff from the footer, I want to see how it was initially. Oh, I see now. It looks like, did we have, it looks like we had multiple things here in this copyright section, and I did not grab them. I just took them all out. So which one did I grab? Let's see. I grabbed this one, and I don't think this has anything we need, so I'm going to take that out, and instead I'm going to bring in, alright, we don't need the social icons. This looks like what we need, this footer menu. So like I said already, I don't like that this is a nav. We'll see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to look good. We may just have to hard code those links in, and if they need changed, I'll just have to do it. I don't think that's really a big deal. Those links, if they're changed at all, it's once a year. I'm fine with taking 5 minutes once a year to come in here and change that. There we go. Alright, so let's see. I expect this to look terrible. Whoa. Oh, okay. I took out the footer copyright, so that's why we're getting that error again. Let's take this out so I don't accidentally edit it, because that was the live site. So let's take out this footer copyright, and I'm just going to remove it up here. And let's see. Yep, we should be good. Okay. All right. See, yeah, we're getting this in here. We're also getting. I wonder why we're getting that. Did I leave something in that I should not have? Maybe I need to put in the HTML code for copyright. So I'm looking that up on. There we go. I'm looking that up on my other screen. It's actually really nice. It came up right in Google search. I didn't even have to click anything. It was just right at the top. So let's make sure that that was the problem and that it fixed it. Yep, that fixed it. Okay, cool. So we have the correct copyright symbol. Now we have these. I guess we have two options. Option one is we just add in some really specific styles to make this look how we want it to look. Option two, we hard code them. Let's just check out what's going on with the styles quickly in DevTools, see how hard it would be. I think the fastest thing at this point would be to hard code them, but we'll need our nav. Let's take out some of the stuff from the nav. It's going to mess up our top nav briefly, but take out that height. Okay. Yeah, I guess we could take all that out. No, I'm gonna hard code it. Like I said, it's only 4 links. You know, directions won't change. Privacy policy probably won't change. Contact us won't change. The non-discrimination statement, the privacy policy and non-discrimination statement are the only things that might change. I'm not really sure if these have to change year to year or not. So let's see how we want to do this. Probably, I think what I'd like to do is have the copyright on this side and then have the links over here at the bottom. Then when the screen gets smaller, we'll just maybe stack them on small screens. Yeah, we'll stack them. Yeah, I'm trying to think how we'll do this. I'd rather have the links on top. Alright, let's see. So here's how I want to do this. We're going to take this out. inside this container. We're going to put this inside. We're going to make a row. Div first, then class, and then row. So this is how you set things up in Materialize. Man, I really need to get some plugins here for Visual Studio Code. I'm used to Atom just like automatically writing most of my code for me. Then we need 2 columns. It's going to be S12, M6. And here's our 2 columns. Man. Let's take this and we'll put that in the first column, and then within our second column we're going to need, we'll just do a UL. Will that be the best way? Yeah, we'll do a UL. And we had 4 links, so we'll need 4 LIs. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to put the names. I don't remember what they were. Contact us, privacy policy, directions. Let me just move them here. Okay, now let's save that, see what it looks like. We're definitely going to have to work on this this UL, but at least we'll get an idea of what we have. Oops, I moved it over to the other screen. Okay. Alright, so we definitely want oops. That's odd. Okay. I didn't realize this until now. So row is some, we get that class with Materialize, but it looks like the site had already had some styles that were on row here. So it's giving it a width of 100% and a max width of 960 pixels. So I do not want that. And you see, that was our problem here. So this is closer to what we're going to want. And so we don't really need that. Let's make sure we override these in our new design. So let's just I guess we could set width to auto and max width. Can we do max width none? Is that valid? Yeah, it looks like that works. Okay, so let's find that now and make those changes. So JS. I'm just gonna put it up here. For right now, we don't have. We're not very organized. All right, so we just want to try to cancel out what was already being done. And let's refresh. Oops. Let's see what we have going on with the row. Okay, great. So that's there. Awesome. So now we can put our styles here. We already have some footer styles down here, so let's just put it down here with that. What do we have this in? Footer, ULLI. I guess we don't. I want to be really specific, so let's go footer copyright ULLI. I want to be specific just in case we ever put a list up in that top portion of the footer. I don't want to have to worry about that list being horizontal instead of vertical, which is what you would normally think when you did a list. So that's why I want to be specific and make sure this is in footer copyright. So what did we have? We just put a float on it for now. Float. And I think I had said float left, but I think we should float it right. Okay. Alright, great. Actually, this is in a different order though. Okay. If I float it left, we do get it in the right order at least. Let's see how that looks. Alright. Let's see what right looks like again. I don't know that I could even tell the difference. Yeah, it looks like it really would have only moved slightly over one way to the other. So if we had it to the right or to the left. So I think it doesn't matter here. If it would have been a more significant shift over to the right, I would have floated right and then just changed the order so it ended up being in the right order. But for now, I think left will be fine. And that'll save us from having to change the order. And right, we don't really see that much of a shift. You can see here, it really hasn't shifted too much. Just a few, I mean, that's maybe 10 pixels of a difference. Okay, we do need to add some padding here. So let's add padding. We'll add the padding to the left, and that'll help at least not shift it even more over than we need it to. Otherwise, I probably would have added it right. Whoops. I'm going to go 8 pixels. And let's see how this looks. We definitely need this to be white. There we go. Now we can see it better. Alright. I'd like to have maybe a little bit more space in here, but I'm not I think it's fine. Right, for these links at the footer that most people will never even see. I don't think it's expected to have a lot of space around here. So that looks okay for now. I didn't like the fact that very early on it goes down like this. So what I think I may do, and I want to double check this now. What I think I may do is change the column widths so that this has more space. So let's do that now. And let's make this, let's see how wide we can get away with. So let's make that a 9, and we'll make this a 3. This might be too much, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, I think that's too much. So you can see with, automatically this goes onto 2 lines. Alright, so let's go, 4 should be fine then. I also want to make sure that we put in the rest of that CSS that we had just put in here. So we need color, and then padding left, oops, we had 10 pixels. Okay, I want to check my timer. Alright, just under 4 minutes. And oops, and I never changed this back. This needs to be left. Oh, that actually, that's interesting. So since I changed the column classes, this actually is a much larger shift. So we may have to end up going back to our padding right, or our float right. But what this does give us is that we can come to a much smaller size without having these wrap. We're not going to be able to have it so that either one wraps unless we go, unless we stack them really early on. So you can see the other alternative too is right now these are in a container. We could potentially expand this out and give them the full width of the page. Normally I don't like to do that. I think it looks nicer if we keep that in line here, but in this case we have a lot to go in here. So that's also an option. Let's see. Let's see what we can do in 2 minutes here. Let's at least get let's get this background the right color at the very least. I want to see what div that is applied to. Okay, the page footer. Okay, so it's on the footer itself. And we'll put it right here. This should work. Background color, I'm gonna give it 21412A. That's the green color. Okay. Definitely don't want this text to be black, and we want to change these fonts. And you know, we would normally have the logo here as well, so this contact would be down a bit farther, and then we'd have the logo. And this, now that I look at this, it might make more sense to flip this around a bit. This section looks shorter than this section. We'll have to see. I guess that's not really important right now. You know, this could potentially change. Also, I don't think I want this centered. I think I'd rather have it aligned differently. So just some little things. For the most part, everything's working fine now. With this footer, we're pulling in this data here from the CMS and this data here as well. We've hard-coded this, and it just needs a bit of adjustment. We do need to make some decisions about how these, what we want to do, whether or not we want them to wrap onto another line or whether we just want to have them stack, you know, kind of early on. I don't like to have a really tall copyright area here, but in this case, it might actually look better to just stack them right off the bat. You know, we got a lot going on here, and then we'd be able to give this a little bit more space. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. So I got some decisions to make on this, and maybe we'll make them together tomorrow. We'll see how far I get between now and then. Okay, so my timer went off, and I think, let's see what time it is. Yeah, I think I'm going to do questions now, and then we'll finish up after questions. So if anybody is not interested in sticking around for the questions, thank you for watching, and please join us again sometime. If you can stick around, that would be awesome. If you have a question, please put it in the live chat now, and even if you don't have a question, please stick around if you can and help to answer some of these questions. Alright, so I'm going to try to scroll up and find where I left off, and I'm just going to keep going down from there, and I'll get to all the questions today. Definitely have time for that. Okay, I think I found it here. Oh, okay. So John B says if you type in .row, Visual Studio Code will automatically make it a div for you by default. VS Code has Emmet installed by default. Oh, I did not know that. That's really cool. Also can do the same for ID. I want to try that out right now, and that'll help me remember it better as well. But let's try it out. So, and then so I can make a div for you by default. Oh, that's so cool, John B. That's the tip of the day. Okay, so if you use Visual Studio Code, try that out. I'm trying to think what else you can do with Emmet. Can't you do stuff like with LIs? Oh, yes, you can. Oh man, let's try this. UL, LI. No, that didn't work. How do you do the ULs? Shoot. I thought there was some way that you could just do. You could do it like a string. But anyway, that's really cool. And then with the ID too. So cool. Now I'm just playing around here. Let's see if I can do. Okay. Let's try this again. Nice. Very nice. That's really cool. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Now I'm gonna have to look up. I haven't done anything with Emmet. I remember I did some tutorials with it a long time ago, like years ago, and I don't remember much. Now I'm gonna have to check it out again. Okay, John B says, wait, that's for HTML files, may not work for master. Well, actually, so this isn't really an HTML file, but I set it to treat it like an HTML file. So I think that's why it ends up working. Okay, and he mentions you have to press tab, right? So when I was doing that, I pressed tab when I was done typing, and then it did that. John Hansen said, don't bring that footer up on the screen too often. The colors are burning my eyes. Yeah, that was pretty bad for a little while. Oh, okay. Rohan says there's an Asp Net Helper Package. Cool. I will have to try that. Oh, Zlin. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Zlininsta. I don't know. I'm really sorry. ZlinindzA. So sorry, I was having trouble pronouncing that, but anyway, it says to use Flexbox instead of float. John Hansen commented that Flexbox won't do much here since there's a column framework set up. Yeah, so the column framework would do what we wanted here pretty much. Otherwise, I probably would try to use Flexbox. In particular, it would be cool to use being able to reorder things on different screen sizes would be good, because I want the copyright to be on the left and the menu to be on the right, but then on a small screen size I want them to flip positions so that the copyright goes on the bottom, right, in the second place, whereas normally it was in the first. So you can do that easily with Flexbox. Anyway, we'll see. I'm undecided exactly how I'm going to do that. No Beer says, thanks for the streaming. You're welcome. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, Shay says, any specific design inspiration for this project beyond the university style guides, style guidelines? No, I don't really have. I mean, it's going to be just basically along the style guidelines, but I'll talk a little bit about kind of what I'm going for. I would like it to be, for this middle section, to have large, full width sections of content. I mean, there's going to be some space on the sides on really large screens, you know, obviously. But right now, you can see it has kind of this split, right? So there's all these sections, and it's split up into 3 columns. Excuse me. I just can't quit yawning. Sorry to everyone if I'm making you yawn out there. I know it's contagious. But we have this. Occasionally, it's broken up by things like this. But I want to get rid of all that and just have, you know, sections, no big columns like this. So within one section, maybe I'll have some columns, depending on, you know, if the content makes sense to be in columns. But I would rather have kind of a progression of ideas. You know, some web pages, it's almost like it tells a story about something as you scroll down. Right now, I just don't feel that we're telling a story. I think that these, you know, the sections are in here and could be flipped around. You know, the about could definitely be elsewhere, right? Academics, admissions. I mean, these don't have to be in this order. They could be flipped around, I think, and still be fine. These could be in any order. So I'd like to try to have it in some, you know, more of an order. You know, right here it's going to probably say apply, and then we have donate here. So if somebody knows what they want to do already, they're going to be able to do it. But otherwise, once they scroll, we're going to tell them the story about the university. And once they get to the bottom, then we can give them another call to action to either apply or donate or learn more. But I want it to be less words and more targeted, more intentional about what we want users to know. Right now, there's just so much going on here. If someone just came here for the first time and knew almost nothing about the university, I think it would just be an overload of, you know, what's this, you know, what is it really about? On this page, it just seems like there's just so much information. It's hard to pick out what the most important information is. So that's kind of my, you know, beyond just the basic design, that's my inspiration for just kind of the flow. I wonder if this might be, I guess, somewhat of a good visual example. I don't know, I think I've shown this before, but this is a site I did last year at some point. It has, it's a little bit different, right? It's not, it has some of the same elements to it, but this is a like a building development that the university's doing, so that it's going to have a hotel and restaurants and things. So it's things for the students to do, things for visitors to the university to be able to stay there, you know, close to the school. But in this, there's way less text, right? A lot less text. It's clear for each section what you can do. This is kind of what I'm going for, something more clean. It's not going to be like this where we just switch back and forth. There's actually not really a lot of content. When I made this, the hotel wasn't even open yet, and there were no restaurants there. So there wasn't a lot going on. So like we don't even have a tab for dining right now. It was built, but we didn't have any restaurants yet. So I'll have to add that in. We may be actually working on this project at some point to update it. The restaurant the first restaurants are supposed to open in October. But you know, for instance, like the hotel page, kind of a similar thing. You can book right away, you know, or we can tell you what you want to see. So obviously we want to sell the suites, right? And it's not, the hotel is run by another company. The university doesn't directly run it, but we want to showcase the suites right off the bat, right? They're the most expensive thing. We want to sell that. Then we drop down to the rooms, and at that point we say, hey, do you want to book online now, right? So you give it another chance, and then we show, you know, even more stuff. So that's kind of the flow that I'm going for. Just kind of a more thought out approach to, if somebody's coming here, what do we want to tell them, and what order do we want to tell them, and then what actions do we want it to be very easy for them to take. You know, what information should be really easy for them to get to. So anyway, I know I went on a lot for that, but that's kind of my goal for this site. Now, I don't have full reign over this site. You know, being the main site for the university, obviously there's a lot of people that want to have a say in what goes on here. So I'm going to try my best and fight as much as I can to try to just strip as much content out of that homepage as I possibly can. I don't care if interior pages are loaded with content. If somebody clicks to learn more, I'll give them pages of content, right? Because they've already expressed the desire, they want to learn more, so I'll give them what they want. They could have, you know, a ton of text content. But on the home page, I don't want to flood it with content, you know, to everything. So we'll see how much I can do here. We'll see. I actually just had a meeting with my boss earlier. It was kind of just not really planned, but I showed him what was going on so far, and he shared with me his vision for the complete redesign when we completely redo the site. You know, hopefully sometime, you know, next year or so. And it's going to be very, very different. So that's going to be cool. I guess just to give you a small heads up, it's going to look almost more like a social media platform than a university like website. Users going to have a lot of control over what content they see right off the bat, which I think is always good. It's going to be a lot of based on cards and being able to sift through category content, having a really good search function. So it's going to be very different. I'm excited about it. It's definitely going to be React. The CMS will maybe be WordPress unless I can find something else that I like better. And we'll pull it in through the API. I'd actually really much rather have a GraphQL instead of just a regular REST API. But anyway, it'll be really different. So that's a cool project that I'll be looking forward to. And if Quincy from, you know, freeCodeCamp wants me to still stream at that point when I'm doing this project, then I'll definitely be streaming it. Otherwise, if I get kicked off of this channel, which I have no reason to believe that I would, but just in case, I can always stream it on my own channel, because that'll be a really cool project. All right, let me go to the next question. Anyway, that was a cool question, Shay. Thanks for asking that. It was kind of wide open, so it allowed me to talk a lot. But I have thought quite a bit about what I'd do with this site if I had the chance. Okay, cool. So, all right, check this out. I'm getting some stuff in the live chat about how to use Emmet. And let's see, ULI stuff 5. Whoa. Oops. Dang it, I messed it up. Wow. Check that out. That's awesome. So it just made a UL with 5 LIs and then nested inside our A tags with the href. Very cool. Very cool. So I basically, if you do this, whoops, then you can nest things. So it's this symbol that's the, what is that, the greater than symbol does it. That's really cool. Rowan says it's like a baby getting a new toy. Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited now. Oh, Shay asks, has someone made a simple Emmet cheat sheet? It's got, somebody had to have made it. It's got to be out there somewhere. And John Hansen said, if you use Pug, it's even easier than those HTML shortcuts. Yeah, I haven't used, well, I used, I'm trying to think what last time I did attempt to use Pug at one point back in the day. It might have still been called Jade at that point. So if you're familiar with Jade templates, Pug is Jade. They just had to change their name because some company owns the rights to use the word Jade as their company name. So so they had to change the Pug. Oh, okay. So the Z so I'm going to say ZN for ZLININDZA since I can't figure out how to pronounce that. So ZN asks, can you explain the master thing? Alright, so these files that are .master, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong for you all that know more about this, I think these are like the ASP .NET template files. So yeah, so let's see. But they are, this is like the top level. So anything that's .master is like, this is the top level. So you can see it has, you know, the HTML tag, right? So everything else, all these other template files, these .ascx templates, they all feed into this one, right? So there are actually several masters, but a page can only have one master file. So that's just the top level template. That would be like the index.js of a React app, right? Or at the very least, like if you were, let's say if you're using Next.js or something where you had, that would be the page, right? In your page component. So that's what .master means in this context. I have no idea if that's just specific to this content management system, the Ectron CMS, or if that's something that is in all ASP.NET things. I don't know enough about it to know whether or not that's the case. But that's basically what the .master means, as far as I know. Theo says, I can't quite understand what you use a CMS system for. In which situations is it necessary to take advantage of one? Is having a database with the REST API not enough, or is it a totally different thing? Okay, so if I'm developing a small website where I'm going to be the only one editing it, I don't bother with a CMS. I usually don't even bother with a database if I don't need one. I just edit, you know, the HTML directly. If someone else needs to edit it, I almost always use a CMS of some sort. Usually WordPress, because it's pretty user friendly. There's a lot of documentation and tutorials out there for people to learn how to use it. Because I can't always be the person that changes things. My day would just be filled up with changing things on all the different websites that we have, or if it's for a client and it's just a contract thing and then I won't really see or talk to them ever again, they need to be able to edit it on their own. So that's why I like a CMS, because it allows them to go in and with a WYSIWYG editor just kind of be able to have some control over the content on of their website. Now, if there are situations where a website would be bigger and I might still be the person that's going to be doing most of the editing, or other people who maybe know a little bit more who don't need the WYSIWYG editor, at that point potentially I would want to maybe just do a database with the REST API or GraphQL or something and not bother about a full-on CMS. Maybe just something really lightweight, maybe even something to just make myself. So that's kind of, it just really depends on who is going to be doing the updating of the content and what is their skill level. That's how I determine whether or not I need a CMS. Okay, so Nobeer is giving me some help in pronouncing. All right, so let me try this. Zilininza. I feel so silly. All right, I'll work on it. Okay, John B says, on the point of the colors for the footer, like the greens and such, why not save them into CSS variables instead of constantly remembering the hex values? You define the variables in root, then define the colors with 2 dashes. So main color, you want to call the color. Okay, yeah, actually I haven't used the CSS variables yet. What's the support for those? Can I use them in a browser yet? So I don't know. If I can, then I'll learn how to use them. Normally I use Sass, and I do save things as Sass variables. In this case, I have that green hex color memorized, so I almost always just type it in because I remember it because I've used it so often. With the other colors, though, it would be helpful to just have them saved in variables. So assuming that I can use the CSS variables, and if it has good browser coverage, then I'll use them. Okay, cool. So Shay says, this is a follow-up when Shay asked earlier about my plan for the website. So here's a follow-up to that. Shay says, I like the website plan. Is the site more for potential students or maybe alumni rather than current students? Or are you thinking that they will know to use the menu to navigate to a student page? Yeah, okay, so this is the really tricky thing. So I mentioned several times before that I was not working here when the current website was designed and developed, but I have heard a lot about the process, and one of the things that happened in the process, which it makes sense that this would happen, is that everybody wanted in on the website. So like the people from Student Life wanted a lot of things on the websites for current students, right? Certainly the people who are in charge of getting donations wanted a lot of stuff on there geared towards donors. People in admissions wanted a lot of things on there geared towards potential students. And we have other things too, like we put on a lot of conferences for adults and for youth. Certainly conferences wanted their stuff on there, and we have like pilgrimages that we sponsor, so people go like like to the Holy Land or to Rome or something like that, different places, and we help organize those trips. They certainly wanted, so everybody wanted something on there. That's why the current site has so much on there, right? Every department within, you know, the academic side of things, every department wanted to be on there. So that was really difficult. So since I've got here, I've frequently brought up, you know, as often as I can in meetings, that we need to focus on, like, what is our target audience? I realize we're going to have a lot of different people coming to the site, but what do we really want to focus on? And I think we've narrowed it down to prospective students as our #1 focus. And then as our #2 focus, close behind, are donors. Everything else is secondary, right? So we want to still provide information about all the other stuff, but that's going to be secondary. So that's going to be the main focus of the site. So that's why it's somewhat reflected already, and I didn't put it in here, but I think I mentioned earlier, this is going to say apply, and this is donate. So what we have is the main call to action, apply, and then up here we have the donate button, and then down farther in the page, maybe at the bottom, maybe somewhere in the middle, we'll probably have at least one other spot where students can apply or fill out maybe an inquiry form and let us know that they're thinking about coming to school here. And then, you know, throughout we can mention other things as it comes in. We'll certainly probably mention some of the awesome academic programs that we have going on, or like we have a really cool study abroad program where students go to Austria and they live in like this. I'm trying to think. I think I have a picture right here. Like, this isn't a stock photo. These are our students in Austria, and they live back here in this big building. So it's some really old church with like a monastery type of thing. In the same way with all these mission trips they take. This is actually our student. I assume she's in the nursing program. She has the stethoscope, but there's lots of cool stuff going on that we're definitely going to want to put in there, but we don't need to tell the entire story of what's going on. We'll save that for interior pages. So I think the main goal is going to be, and this isn't really going to fall on me. My boss is probably going to have to do a lot of the work of convincing people why we need to build a site this way. And then I'll just provide support as much as I can, probably in the form of a lot of data, as much data as I can, to show that this will result in, you know, more students and more donations. But the main thing is just going to be convincing people to be on board with this and to not be too upset about stripping out content, because I imagine there's going to be people that will be upset. You know, for instance, you know, look at all this content. Some people are going to be upset if they're no longer mentioned, right? We have a lot of text here, and it mentions a lot of different programs. We can't keep all of these in here, right? So, you know, whoever's in charge of, you know, this particular program, are they going to be upset? Maybe. I don't know. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not even necessarily has anything to do with web development, that's just going to have to be dealt with. So to answer your question, I know I went, you know, above and beyond what your original question was. To answer the question, potential students are the main audience, but we're going to keep in mind that there are going to be alumni and other donors that are going to be coming here, and we want to give them something too. So we'll definitely want to highlight, for the students and for the donors, we'll want to highlight some really awesome stuff that's going on here at the university, so that it would appeal to both audiences as much as possible. And we already have a site for our donors, a separate site that we can send them to as well. So we don't need to say everything on this page, but maybe just a little bit, and be able to send people to the right place. Let's see, and we do already have some some websites that are just like one-page websites that have information about a specific program that we send people to from like Facebook ads and things like that. They go to that one-page thing, and it really focuses just on that particular academic program, just for students who are really interested in that. you know, sometimes we'll email students who said they're interested in, let's say, nursing, or let's say counseling, because I did a site for the counseling program, and they can go right to that site, and they have a whole website dedicated just to that program. And then if they want more info, they can come to this site and get pages and pages of info. But we're still going to be doing things like that as well, and that takes some of the pressure off of this main page to not have to cover everything. But yeah, quite a lot of discussion and thought has gone into this already, and we're it's been I've been wanting to redesign this since before I even got the job here. John Hansen says the original homepage has a 90s style bombardment of too much content. Yeah, I agree. It is just way too much. I mean, I've looked at this web page for probably hours working here, and I don't think I've ever read everything on here. You know, like I don't have any data on this. It would probably be cool to get the data and get a heat map. But I would guess that the percentage of people that get to this point in the site is probably in the single digits of, you know, people that actually scroll all the way down there. I mean, especially, can you imagine on a phone how long of a scroll this is? You know, we'll shrink this up. I mean, this is quite a scroll. And really, it's because this text is just so tiny, it makes it a little bit better scroll-wise, but you can't read that. I mean, that's extremely small. I'm sure it's small for you all trying to watch on YouTube, but even for me, trying to look at it, I got to put my face close to the screen to see that. So, I mean, I kind of feel like there's some shortcuts here in terms of font size that it shouldn't be like. This font should be at least double the size, which would make this page quite a bit longer. So not only do we need to get rid of text, but we need to increase the font size for readability. Like, nobody's gonna, you know, try to read that. They have to try to zoom in just to see it. All right, let me go. Let me get through some more of these questions. Oh, cool, Patrick. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? I don't. Patrick, did you get here late or what? I don't think I've seen you say anything the whole time. But Patrick came through with a Emmet cheat sheet. So docs.emmet.io, so E-M-M-E-T. So docs.emmet.io/cheat sheet. That's cheat hyphen sheet. So check that out. No Beer says, can anyone suggest to me how to edit a Blogger website? Says, please, thanks in advance. I've never used Blogger, so I don't know. I don't really know how to edit that. If they give you access to be able to edit the HTML and CSS and JavaScript, I would assume it would work, you know, just like any page. But I'm not sure. I guess it depends on what you have access to. Okay, so Rohan says the next Edge release will have full support for CSS Variables. iOS already has it. Wow, that's interesting. I've always had trouble with iOS with different things not being supported. So that's really interesting. Okay, I'll have to check that out more. Let's see. Actually, let's try it right now. Can I use? See if they have anything on here. Alright, so CSS Variables. Obviously, Internet Explorer 11 doesn't have that. Edge has partial support, but it will be. Nice. Chrome has. I had no idea that they were this well supported. The last time I even thought about them, I was watching a talk about them, and I guess the talk was, maybe it was a little bit older, because the way they were talking about it was like no one supports them yet. That's really cool though. Maybe I'll have to try it out. Okay. Hamed says, so I'm like a full beginner learning Python, but I also want to learn the ropes of web development. What resource should I go to? I would say check out freeCodeCamp. You know, certainly the YouTube channel, but also you know, freeCodeCamp. What is it? .org? Are we .org now? I think we are. I should know. I'm sure there's a redirect in place as well, but I think it's freeCodeCamp.org. And just go through some of the lessons. Probably if you're learning Python, you know, a lot of the early stuff will be really easy. You'll probably fly through it. But that's a really good resource. It kind of ramps up gradually, lets you know some of the basics. Beyond that, Udacity has a lot of free courses for web development. Most of them are a little bit get in depth more into web development in particular areas, more so than you'd get from freeCodeCamp. You know, unless you went all the way through and did some of the later things in freeCodeCamp. So if there's a particular area you really want to focus on, you could just take that course in Udacity. So those two resources have been very helpful to me. And I mean, there's a lot of other places where you can do courses. Code Academy I've done a lot of things from there as well. All right, let's see. John B says, on browser support of CSS Variables. Okay, so basically just explaining this. So I didn't see that before I brought this up, so sorry, John B. But I mean, I guess this is a decent visual as well. So not bad. Shay says, that was a good answer, Jesse, thanks. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you thought it was a good answer. Thanks for asking the question. It gave me an excuse to explain the grand scheme for the site. No Beer says, in response to Hamad's question about learning web development, it says, 1, for front-end development, learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. 2, build websites to perfect your skills. 3, choose one server base language, for example, PHP, Python, Ruby. 4, learn a database language like MySQL or MongoDB. Yeah, I mean, a very broad plan, but that's basically, I mean, that's kind of pretty much how I've been going. Yeah, if you follow that, I mean, you could be full stack. That's, you know, if you get through all that. Patrick says, without the JavaScript heavy React site, I don't have much to contribute. Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. I kind of wondered when I would do this if there would be a shift in the people that wanted to watch. So there were probably people who watched because they were very interested in React. Or at least just JavaScript in general, and then when they saw that I was doing .NET stuff, they might be less interested. But then there may have been people who are interested in .NET and C# who started watching that didn't. So I've seen some new faces, and I've seen some people that I used to see I haven't seen as often. So that's to be expected, and it's not bad. I think a lot of the stuff we're doing now is more friendly for beginners because we're really just doing a lot of basic HTML and CSS at this point, and then we're spending a little bit of time trying to tie everything into these templates. So it's not bad because with the React stuff, sometimes we get in like really in depth into things, and a lot of the people say, "Wow, this is over my head. I can't understand it," and so I think it's a good mix. So we'll be back to React actually in October. So first week of October, we'll be doing React stuff again. We're going to go back to Project 1, and we're going to update it. So I'm going to get a list of requested updates right at the beginning of October. We're going to work on those. While we're working on those, I think it's definitely going to be a good idea to go in, try to update our NPM packages. If hopefully we can update and not mess things up. Same thing, like do updates on our server. It'd be great to try to refactor things, maybe more testing. So we're going to be back to it. But for the rest of September, at least, we're probably going to be working on this site. And unless something else comes up, I mean, you never know. Project 1 came up out of nowhere, and I had to stop working on this site, this university site, and then flip right to that Project 1. And I haven't gotten back to it, really in months. So anyway, we'll get back to it. But Patrick, I appreciate all the help that you've given before. I mean, you've given so much help. You deserve a rest, I think. Okay, John B confirms it is freeCodeCamp.org now. Like I said, I'm assuming that if you do type in .com, it would just redirect. That seems like that would be a basic thing. So, but I think it's officially .org, and I don't just think. I know it is. John B said it is, so it is. Let's see. Okay, John Hansen says Google Tag Manager is a simple interface to see what visitors actually click on, scroll past or down, how much time, or any other interactions you want to check on. Okay, cool. I actually haven't used Google Tag Manager. I took a course on it, and then I never implemented it on anything. So maybe I'll start using Google Tag Manager on some of the newer stuff. I have used Hotjar before. I think it's Hotjar, and they have heat maps of things. So I think, but I use the free version. I forget what their limits are, so I'm not even sure if it would be that useful for the amount of traffic this site gets. I would probably hit the limits really quickly. Oh, Rohan says Firefox has fonts since 2014. Chrome has since 2016. Cool. Okay, Theo says in response to the CMS answer that I gave to the question, thank you very much for clearing things up for me. For some reason, I thought that WordPress is just for websites that are made with no coding, but just the visual editor. Oh yeah. I'm sorry I didn't really mention that. That's like kind of a key thing. So I guess most people use WordPress for that very reason. It's just websites. You can get a website up and you don't have to know code. What we've been using WordPress for in our projects has been, I guess, what some people call a headless CMS. So I don't worry about any of the templates that come with WordPress. We don't use them at all. Instead, I pull all the data that's entered in through WordPress, I pull it all with an API into a React project. You can pull it into anything. I actually have other sites where I'm pulling it into just a site that uses some jQuery and Ajax to bring in the data. But that's how I've been using WordPress, and that's how I generally do use content management systems for projects I'm doing. I do have some clients that use just a basic WordPress site, which is fine. For a lot of clients, I don't think they really need a React site. I like to do it. I think they end up being a lot faster if you do it right. But I think WordPress, as it normally is used, is still very useful for a lot of people. And it can be a very inexpensive way to get a website up. Okay, and Theo says, I've been using Firebase for my projects lately, and that kind of falls in the middle since it doesn't require any server-side programming. Cool. I keep hearing about Firebase. I've had people ask me if I've used Firebase and things. I'm going to have to check out Firebase more. I remember checking it out a while back, just kind of looking at, you know, what it was about. And I didn't have time to really practice using it, but so many people are talking about it to me lately. I definitely need to try it out. Okay. All right, cool. So I've gotten to the bottom of the live chat. So that was a much longer question and answer session than normal, but it was really cool. It was worth it. Got some good questions and hopefully helped you out for those of you that asked questions. Also got to explain my vision for this website. Okay, just got another question pop up here. Bharat says, Jesse, can you give some pointers on pulling data from WordPress? Yeah, so WordPress core now comes with the API built in. So you used to need to get a separate plugin. You don't need that anymore, so it's really easy. When you're using the API, I recommend getting some plugins. So check out on the API documentation page, they actually have a list of plugins that work with the API. Run through that list, see what things might be useful for you. It really makes working with the API a lot easier. There are some things that are just they're just inconvenient to work with. So try out some of the plugins. Trying to think what I use. Now I'm drawing a blank offhand. You can check out, like, Project 1 has some videos. If you see my Project 1 videos, if any of them have the WordPress in the title, you may be able to see some of the plugins I'm using and how I have it set up. But it'll make getting the data easier and getting just the data that you want easier. Sometimes you may want to get posts from multiple post types, and there's not an easy way to do that right off the bat, but you can get a plugin that lets you get multiple post types. So you can pull it all in one API call and not have to make multiple calls. So that's really useful. If you only need like one piece of data and you don't want to pull in all this other data that comes by default, there's a plugin that'll let you just filter out exactly what you need. So you could make the data just really small, which doesn't really make a difference if you're getting just a few posts. But if you're getting a lot of posts, you just pull in the data, you know, just that you need. So things like that are they're really nice. Just make using it a lot easier. Yeah, so just from memory, those are kind of the things that that have helped me. But check out, I'm almost positive that I have some videos that have WordPress API in the title. So if you can find those, hopefully they'll help you out as well. And if you have any like specific questions when you're working with it, feel free to ask them in the live chat or send me a message on Twitter or some other social media platform, and I'll try to help you out if I can. Okay, now I'm at the end of the live chat here again, so I'm gonna finish things up here, and I will be back tomorrow. What is today? All right, tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. So actually, I probably won't get very much done because my wife has a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. I will be home with the kids. I'll come in though into work in the afternoon, most likely, unless for some reason the appointment takes a really long time. But I'll let everyone know. Probably be scheduling the event a little bit later than normal, so I won't be in. So you may not get the alert until later on, or the tweet until later on. But I think I should still be here. And as always, if for some reason I can't stream, I put that out on Twitter just to let you all know. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow, most likely around 2 p.m. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, for contributing in the live chat. I really appreciate it, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.